Michigan sucks. At least that's the narrative that we've heard ever since Michigan lost to Georgia 34-11, laid an egg in that particular game. Well, guess what? If that's what sucking is, then I will take it every single season. 12-2 and Big Ten champions. There is nothing for us to not keep our chin up over. Michigan had an excellent season. And for those of you who are hearing this from Ohio State fans, I would say, if you're a Michigan fan and you're new here, join this community, because my Ohio State fans on this community, I say it all the time, but I want to continue to stress it because that is what I am building here. It's just a fun atmosphere for Michigan and Ohio State and college football fans all across the board to draw their mouths at each other a little bit, but then come and respect each other in the grand scheme of things. And 90% of my Ohio State fan base on this channel are not only excellent fans and win with class and lose with class, but they also are excellent human beings who are very dear to me in this community. 90%. There's only like 10%, maybe not even, of Buckeye fans on this channel, an 8,300 subscriber channel at the moment, who are like that. So kudos to Ohio State, but no kudos to Georgia. Georgia fans outside of the 15%. I don't want to forget the 15%. This does not apply to you. Specifically, my man M. Turner. He is all class, and in victory and in defeat, the same way that I just talked about with these Ohio State fans, he is awesome. And the other percentage with him who won with class and said Michigan had a great season, I'm proud of that victory, I'm proud of my dogs for getting that W. This does not apply to you. Plain and simple, what I'm about to say does not apply to you. You guys are awesome people, so please just mute your ears and don't listen to this. But to the other 85%, Georgia's fan base, that 85%, at least from my perspective, and my perspective probably isn't much different than most people's perspective, especially most people who are on YouTube. You have absolutely embarrassed your university and your fan base. It is embarrassing to that 85% how you guys have acted after this victory. You should not say Michigan sucks, plain and simple. You're bringing down your victory, saying that it doesn't mean much because we suck. We're no better than the middle of the pack SEC teams. If you are a Georgia fan and you don't believe that Michigan would absolutely throttle the teams in the SEC East, starting with Kentucky and ending with Vanderbilt, well, you just don't know football, and I don't really want to listen to you. You have a low football IQ, and you make your university look sad. You know, Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley, they fought in a boxing match recently, and they ran their mouth at each other. They wanted to promote the event, and they wanted to have fun with the event. Tyron Woodley ran his mouth, ended up getting absolutely embarrassed on live television. I say embarrassed, you know, he would kick my butt in about 10 seconds, and that's, you know, most of those seconds are me running from him. But in terms of his profession, he got embarrassed, knocked out cold by Jake Paul. After the fact, they congratulated each other, they respected each other, called each other tough opponents, and that was that. They shook hands and went on their way. They've gotten along since. That is how it's supposed to go. People jawed each other for the entertainment factor. I'm on YouTube. There's an entertainment factor there. That is what I'm here to do. And you of all fan bases should know this. You're Georgia. You are represented, like it or not, by Uncle Lou, who has a very big fan base, and he is quite clearly a Georgia fan. And he does the same thing. He runs his mouth. Sometimes he has to eat crow. Sometimes he does not and brags about it. That is the fun of it. And I respect that. I respect that with Uncle Lou. Win, lose, or draw, he is going to show up on his YouTube channel no matter what. I did the same thing. I was so respectful to Georgia. I ate crow after the fact. And you were no better than Jake Paul. Jake Paul took Tyron Woodley's respect and went on his merry way. For you to not be more classy than Jake Paul, well, that speaks a lot about you. Michigan doesn't suck. Point blank, period. Now to my Michigan fans. We had an amazing season. And that's where I'm getting at is don't listen to these people. I'm not going to listen to them from here on out. I'm not going to listen to them. Let's go over it. Western Michigan, 8-5 this season, won their bowl game, got a win over Pittsburgh, who was the ACC champion in the regular season in their division and overall in the conference championship game. We beat Northern Illinois, who was 9-5 this season. That was not an easy team by any means, and it definitely looks good when we beat them 63-10, and we beat Western Michigan 47-14. Then later on in the season, we got an excellent win at Wisconsin. That's a game that I predicted we were going to lose coming into the season. It was at Camp Randall, one of the hardest places to play in America, and not only do we win that game, we win 38-17, and that win didn't look like much early in the season because Wisconsin started out 1-3, but guess what? They ended up 9-4, won their bowl game over Arizona State, and the only blemish they had after that 1-3 start was a loss at Minnesota the last game of the regular season. That is nothing to scoff at. That's a good victory. We beat Nebraska 32-29. That doesn't look great necessarily, but it showed resiliency. Thank goodness for Brad Hawkins stripping that ball away. It showed resiliency in a night game. Nebraska fans and family and players, they were ready to play in that one, and we came through. Had a blemish against Michigan State. Lost that game 37-33. But everybody outside of Michigan State fans usually knows that Michigan outplayed Michigan State in that game, and I'm still proud of the way we played outside of the last quarter and a half. I got to believe that we're going to take that game next year, but shoot, I believe that every year. This time around, they're not going to have a once-in-a-generation, for their sake, player come out of the transfer portal in Kenneth Walker, so we'll take care of business next year, and that's okay. That's okay. I predicted we were going to win that game coming into this season. We lost it. That's fine. We won at Penn State. Penn State took a little bit of a step down this year. It felt like they were going to be a really good football team and really compete for the Big Ten. That was not the case, but they were still a good football team, and it was still at Happy Valley, one of the hardest places to play again in college football. That's a good win. I got to see that one live and in person. Throttled Maryland, who has a very good offense. We saw that against Virginia Tech in their bowl game. They obliterated Virginia Tech. We obliterated them 59-18. Then we beat Ohio State, which is a huge win. Huge win. Again, thank you to the Ohio State fans who were classy and lost. I'll do the same thing next season. I'll run my mouth before the game in the preview video like I always do, no matter if I think we're going to lose by 35 or win. I will do that. But when we lose, if we lose, I will eat crow. No ifs, ands, or buts about it, and you guys deserve that because you did that with me. Plain and simple. Some of you didn't even talk junk before the game, and you still ate crow afterwards. You didn't even have to do that. Iowa, in the Big Ten Championship game, not only did we beat a team that hadn't given up more than 28 points in 37 straight games, we obliterated them. Love Iowa. I'm a big fan of Iowa and the program that they run, and Kirk Ferentz, and obviously their tradition, wave and everything. Love it. But we won 42-3, and that's a good win, man. Iowa does not have that happen to them very often. By the way, Kentucky beat Iowa 20-17. So these teams that you guys are telling us that we're even with in the SEC East, that's hilarious. We beat Iowa 42-3. Kentucky beat them 20-17. Needed a last drive touchdown to do so. So you missed me with that. Then we lost to Georgia and crapped the bed there. It was a tough game. But Georgia fans, you need to know that, again, give respect to Michigan. Give respect to them. Don't downplay your victory. You should be building us up and saying they were a damn good football team, number 2 in the nation, and we did that to them. That's what I would do if I was a fan. I wouldn't downplay my victory and make it look worse than what it actually is. We had a great season. We have nothing to be sad about. It's great to be a Michigan Wolverine. That's the title of this video because it is great to be a Michigan Wolverine. Michigan, although a lot of colleges don't have a hockey team, they are the only team in the nation that has a Final Four appearance in their respective sport in hockey, baseball, basketball, and football. But even if you took hockey away from that, baseball, basketball, football, how many teams have been in the Final Four of their respective sports since 2018, just 4 years ago? How many teams can say they were in the Final Four of their respective sports in all 3 of those sports? Not many, if any. We are a winning university. We might not get the job done in the long run, and people don't remember you if you're not the champion, so I'd like to see us get over that hump. But don't downplay our accomplishments. We are winners. We have built a winning organization all across the board, and there's other sports that we are good at as well. It's great to be a Michigan Wolverine. I'll repeat that. It's great to be a Michigan Wolverine. Kudos to Jim Harbaugh to proving a lot of people wrong, including myself. I have gone on the record to apologize. I'm not as apologetic as maybe some of the Jim Harbaugh apologists want me to be, because, at that point in time when I said fire Jim Harbaugh after the Michigan State game, he was what he was in the past. They really blew that game calling wise, and we hadn't looked good against Rutgers or Nebraska necessarily. So, my thought process was like most people's thought process, which is, great, we're going to lose at Penn State, we're going to get throttled by Ohio State, and it's going to be another typical season out of Jim Harbaugh. So, mostly I apologize because that did not end up being the case, but you can't necessarily blame me after years and years of evidence for thinking that way. Plain and simple. So I was right for a bunch of years and you guys were right for half of a season, okay? But, Jim Harbaugh did the hard thing that he finally needed to do, which was he stopped being so tight-knit with Don Brown. Don Brown's an excellent person, great tenacity, players love to play for him, but he could not do it schematically. He had to go, and Jim Harbaugh made the tough business decision to do that, a decision that I think he's going to make next season between Cade McNamara and J.J. McCarthy for the betterment of Michigan. It's going to be a tough decision, but it's going to be the right decision in the long run. So he did that, and then he evolved what he likes to do, which is play tough-nosed football and pound the rock, and then Josh Gaddis' speed and space ideas. Instead of trying to do one or the other like he's done in 6.5 seasons at Michigan, he took those two types of offenses, he evolved them, and he evolved himself and the team as a result. Michigan took that step this year, and I think we're going to continue to take that step. Recruits like to see that stuff, and they like to see the camaraderie-ship and the togetherness and the unitedness, not a word maybe, I don't know, of Michigan. They like to see that. We got a lot to be proud of, and we are going places in the future. This will not be our first rodeo. We might not get there next year, but we will be there plenty within the next 10 years or so if we stick to script and continue to do what we did this season. It's great to be a Michigan Wolverine. To everybody else who tries to say otherwise, tell them to get lost. Go blue, baby.